Walking Dead, Glenn and Maggie are starting to have issues, which is freaking me out because they are the only hopeful people in the entire show. But they are deeply in love in that way that you are when the world is ending and you only have moments to assess a situation. But now, Maggie is willing to push her dad, who has saved her all this time, out of the way to go make sure that Glenn is okay. Whereas Glenn is starting to see being attached to people as a weakness, which can only go poorly for all of that, for that entire situation. Because, I mean, Maggie pointed out that he is the one who is sent into all the crap situations, which is entirely true. And he's starting to question the whole situation, and he's developing as an adult and as a member of this community, which is quickly falling apart. And that is going to get complicated. I know in the comic book things got bizarre between them, and I'm sort of hoping it doesn't go that way, but, you know, it's its own thing. What's next? Doctor Who started filming this week. So, soon there will be, well, I say soon, in like 2 seasons, in the fall, there will be Doctor Who to talk about, and they were saying that Amy and Rory are definitely leaving, which, you know, that makes me sad, but it's okay. The whole show is about change, as they're constantly reiterating. But the rumor mill is also saying that they're going to die, and I think that would be horrible. Because, I mean, Rory always dies, but if Amy dies and Rory lives, it's just going to tear my heart out. I mean, it's just going to tear my heart out. I adore Amy. And the doctor's going to make his cry face, and then I'm just going to be useless for an entire week. What do we have? Oh, Castle! The second half of Castle, of their big mid-season 2-parter. And it turns out that CIA Sophia was not just the inspiration for his previous strong female character, she was also his lover, and it went poorly. And there was that whole conversation between her and Beckett that was just so obviously the writers telling the fans that they need to slow down that I was screaming at the TV. I really want them to prove that wrong, because that is standard television logic. You can't have 2 people get together because it will ruin the tension, and then you can't have a television show. But this show has generally been progressing faster than just about any other show, and it's been proving in a sort of sideways fashion that that's not really true. And that's something that we haven't really seen in a long time in this sort of a show. And I really want them to prove that this isn't true either. And, I mean, no one needs them to have kids, and any sleeping together is going to be off screen because it's prime time on a network. But that scene, it was just so infuriating. And it was such a imposition. It was narration rather than episode. And then at the end of the episode, there was an elbow bump. There was hardly anything to acknowledge the fact, but that's not really out of character for them. It'll be another 6 episodes before they even mention that they almost drowned in a car together. And it'll be in the next sweeps when something big happens, and they'll bring it up. But they're not shippy, but in a relationship, there was that great little moment, almost a throwaway moment, where Sophia said that she knew Castle's dad and that he was in the CIA, and that is a very nice thickening of the plot. We've been sort of not even talking about his dad maybe once a season for 4 years, and if he's going to come into the show, he's going to have to be something absolutely fantastic. And that will bring in Martha. How much did she know? How much was she hiding from him? And that will bring in whatever daddy issues Castle has, and I'm sure there's a million because he's sort of messed up. And then it's going to bring in Alexis is going to have something to do with that, because she's grown up her entire existence not having anyone but her dad and Martha. And she is getting really interesting too. She finally has a purpose in the show other than accidentally saying the thing that cracks the case. She gets to work with Lainey and she gets to be part of the team, and it integrates her better, which is something that her character has been missing this entire time. She's not just a Deus Ex daughter anymore. She's a intern. She gets to do all the gross stuff, and they should really run with that. What's after Castle? Person of interest. Not much movement there unless you continue to go with Finch and Reese are totally secret husbands. I mean, Finch made him a suit that's very intimate. On the Mentalist, the Sykes came back, and his interaction with Jane is always fun, and not the least bit shippy, really, but deliciously complicated. And that whole subplot of him talking to Van Pelt, that was really interesting. And I'm starting to ship Sykes and Van Pelt because I think that would be a beautiful doomed relationship. I mean, she will constantly be trying to rehabilitate him, and he will constantly be trying to get her into his cult. And it will end badly, but hopefully not with her shooting another boyfriend, because that would suck. I mean, that you can't have someone winding up killing all of their boyfriends. It's just does not work. And everyone knows that she's supposed to be with Rigsby, but Rigsby is embroiled in baby daddy land in that subplot, so that's not going to happen soon. And then there's Fringe. I am going to have to start doing this last part of the season of Fringe in its own episodes. There is far too much stuff to talk about in Fringe. But the pertinent thing to this cast is Peter did not make the same mistake. There is character growth, there is understanding, even though you could see the pain written all over his face, and she was willing him not to be saying what he was saying. He walked away, and he apologized, and he walked away. And that was exactly what I wanted, because no matter how much this Olivia in the Yellowverse has her memories, this is not his Olivia. And the universes are not blending, which, well, that was sort of my pet idea. But it got replaced with the really beautiful scene of being on that scientific deck with September and all the stars and the universe happening behind them. That was a gorgeous scene, and we finally got some answers to what they were and what was going on, but not so much that the rest of the series is going to be boring. We just got exactly what we needed to continue. And I think it was Ionine said that this is basically setting up for the end of the series, because everyone knows that they're in the death slot. They're probably not going to get a next season. And this is brilliant, because I don't know if I could handle another really intense sci-fi show getting cut off without ending its story. And this is so good. It's such an intense story, and it's all wrapped up in these people's lives. To not have it finished, I think it would haunt me for the rest of my days. And it looks like they are aware of this fact, and they learned their lessons limping through that last season of Lost, and they're working it out. They're bringing it all together, and the strands are coming together, and it's making sense. And it's giving payoff without screwing us over. And I really don't want to get my hopes up for that last episode after what happened with Lost, but this already makes more sense than any of that. And I'm so excited. And Peter's Peter's existence has been sort of diffused this first half of the season since he came back. And now he's back. He's laser-like focused, back getting to his own universe, to the Blue-niverse, where he belongs. And that is exactly what the plot needed. It bugs me that they took this long getting there, but that's the way this show works. There's a half a season, a quarter of a season, where they're just setting stuff up, and then all of a sudden one thing happens in one episode, and it all makes sense. And I can forgive all of that, what felt like wheel spinning in the first half of the season, because now it's all coming together. And we are reconfirmed once again that the entire purpose of this show basically is to get Peter and Olivia together, which is such a bold thing. Like, shows never, especially shows like this, never center around that relationship. But it is literally given cosmic significance in this show, and it's so nice to see it back on track. And that is the Shippy news for this week.